The RV Show USA is brought to you by Flagstaff, building better RVs, making smarter RVers.
And welcome again to the RV Show USA, everybody. I'm Alan Warren, the RV Wingman. So glad you are here with us. You can call 24/7. And if we're not in, you can leave a voicemail message, and we listen to every single one of them. The number to call is 1-330-WINGMAN. For those who don't want to spell it out, 1-330-946-4626. I'll give you a reminder of that number again before we hit the first break. I want to talk with you about some harsh realities about RVing and about people, at least as I see them. I fully suspect that those who get angry at what I'm going to say are either not trying to truly listen to my message or they're trying to read something into this little monologue that is not there. For those folks who want to just fight and criticize and be discouraging, this may draw their ire, but for the rest of you, I hope you'll really think about some of the things that I am about to say. I'm also going to ask a lot of questions in the next few minutes in hopes of making you think. Just think and then form your own opinion. First, welcome to the most listened to, most talked about show on radio and social media about the RV lifestyle, where you will hear the good, the sometimes not so good, and the occasional downright ugly parts of RVing. And one thing I promise you is I will always tell you the truth and be honest with you. First, some observations, some broad statements to kind of lay the foundation here. People love to RV. Why? Well, they love to RV because it makes them feel good. The activity of RVing, the process of RVing, the dream of RVing, being inside your RV, just thinking about RVing, and even the occasional crummy camping trips where it seems nothing works as it should, all of it adds up to why people love to RV. So people love to RV because it makes them feel good. Another question, why is social media such a gathering place for people to be so ugly, so negative, so spiteful, so critical, filled with people that know everything, have the solution to everything, and they let you know it? Why is that? Well, I submit that the answer is that for those hateful trollers criticizing and one-upping, tearing down everybody else, makes them feel good. I'm serious. Being ugly makes some people feel good, makes them feel like they are superior. I am absolutely convinced that some people are just wired that way, to be negative, to be ugly. You can't make a rooster bark like a dog. You can't make the haters believe in any other way. I see it every day online. No matter what I say, no matter how hard I try and communicate a message of honesty, no matter how much I encourage people to be responsible for their actions and their buying decisions in terms of RVs and RV dealers, and no matter how much I try and tell people to be responsible for their own actions, good or bad, the haters will find something to criticize. It's like they just have to get in the last word or else. My question for the social media keyboard cowboys who leave a trail of negativity everywhere they go is this. If all RVs are junk, if all RV manufacturers, all RV dealers are crooks, if the campgrounds are too crowded, if your neighbors in the campground are so bad, if you are so negative about RVing, why are you an RVer? Seriously, I'm not being ugly, I promise. If everything and everyone is so bad, why do you even RV? You know that RVs need maintenance. You know that an RV is not a car or a truck, and nobody can expect an RV to hold up like a car or truck can. You know that, right? I respectfully then say to all the folks who seem to get their jollies by correcting others, or those who listen to others just to nitpick and correct them, please give us stupid people a break and go play someplace else. We get it. We do. We understand you may not be a happy camper. Please don't come into one of our Facebook groups and sour the mood of 400,000 members. They're looking for positives, hoping to learn from others, hoping to have a fun place to share their experiences, a place that is free of politics, free of arguing, a place where we don't have to agree with each other all the time, but we do have to respect each other, especially if they have a different point of view. To always be a negative, sourpuss know-it-all on social media is not cool. You may think it is, but others don't. Being a sourpuss in a campground or being a slob in a campground, either one, that's not cool either. One other thing, you know-it-all social media self-appointed RV experts aren't nearly as smart or nearly as cool as you may think you are. You make plenty of mistakes too, and if you don't think so, you're either, living in denial or you haven't lived very long. Recently, I visited with a man who runs a couple of plants for the Flagstaff Rockwood division of Forest River. I've been to those plants. I've seen what they do. I watched the people. I've talked with them. I've seen how much they care about building a quality RV, about pressure testing every RV that comes off the line, testing for water leaks, testing every unit, pressure testing every single one to do their best to make the best RV possible and provide the best overall value to the RV owners. And yes, I'm impressed from the very beginning of construction and through every phase in the plant. Those people care about their jobs. They care about their reputation. They care about RVers. Forest River even has set up a different plant, a completely different plant, where they will randomly send about 10% of every RV that comes off of every one of their lines, including the Flagstaff Rockwood line, to have a deep dive inspection. Yeah, a deep dive, in-depth inspection that goes really deep to make doubly, triply sure everything is done, that everything is working just as it's supposed to. In my view, it's a great way to spot check with any issues that, may have been overlooked somewhere along the regular production process. The result? Well, that's why Flagstaff and Rockwood owners are some of the happiest campers in any campground. But going back to the online self-appointed critics and experts, they'll say that they should do a deep dive into every single RV, every single one of them that comes off the line. They'll say 10% isn't nearly enough. Well, let me tell you something. They'll say a deep dive inspection of anything less than 100% of the units is proof that they're trying to pull a fast one on the consumer, and I say not true. Let's just say that every single RV that came off the line, every one of them, no matter what the brand, went through this very detailed, slow, in-depth inspection. Do you think that would mean every RV would be problem-free? Really? You think there just might be some problems that could develop as you tow that RV across bumpy roads, you hit potholes, maybe hit a curb or two or three, or maybe when you fly over those speed bumps in a campground and rattle the heck out of your unit? And do you think an in-depth, complete from top to bottom inspection would not come without an extra cost? That's ludicrous. The increased cost would be met with consumers who say, I'm not going to pay whatever for whatever. I don't care how much it's worth. I don't care how many inspections. I don't care how long a manufacturer takes to review every single RV that comes off the line. Some RVs are going to have some issues. They are. Yes, even some occasional Flagstaff and Rockwood units. I respectfully suggest that if you want a bulletproof RV that does that nothing breaks, that does not exist. There's some good ones, some really good ones. There's lots that are good and are a great value and are a fine example of quality. But if you read much online, you'll find those self-appointed experts who will tell you that your RV is a piece of junk, and they'll do it like they're only trying to help you. Right. My question for all you super smart experts out there, what made you so smart? Who made you the expert? Were you always this smart? Seriously? Or was it, a natural-born gift? I have another question for the online experts. Think back to when you first began RVing, when you bought your first RV. Were you the same way as you are today? Think about it for a second. I don't think so. Back then, you weren't looking for people to tell you how stupid you were, what a mistake you made by buying this or that. You most likely became the camper you are today by making mistakes, and probably a lot of them. And if you're really honest with yourself, many of those mistakes had more to do with you probably not being aware or maybe not realizing the importance of doing your required maintenance. Yeah, just like you're supposed to. The important stuff. The importance of doing your homework before maybe buying from a sleazy dealer that you could have found out about beforehand. To all the cranky campers who will find anything and everything to criticize or correct or whatever you want to call it. Part of what you're saying, part is true, and I completely believe it. But there will be some RV horror stories for sure, no doubt. And there are a ton of people who believe that this won't happen to me. There'll always be RVers who jump in emotionally, make a buying decision they'll regret, but please, let's tone down the negativity, tone down the criticism of those who aren't quite as smart as you are. I often say that at one time in my life, I was pretty smart too. Got a lot of joy out of pointing out everything to everybody, for their own good, of course. Not. I'd like to hear what you think. Call me on my voicemail 24/7, 1330 Wingman, 1330 Wingman.